TV. I know people are drifting in, so hi! Hope y'all are having a good day. We're here to talk about the wonderful and amazing FileMaker platform, as always. Specifically, we're talking about a plugin in the FileMaker platform that is pretty well known. If you haven't heard of it, I'm surprised. Yeah, you really should go look it up. It's the Monkeybread plugin. It's got 7,000. What are we functioning like? 7,300 are we at, Christian? Or a little beneath that or over that?
7,800.
Oh, okay. No, I'm vastly underneath that. Why was I thinking 7,200 for some reason? Okay, so yeah, 7,800. We're also known as really close to 8,000 functions. It does a lot in those 8,000, almost 8,000 functions. Basically, it has a lot of development assistance, so things like auto-completing variables or big searches into your script. So you can find, if you go like, man, where did that perform script on server go? You can just find it without having to go through and read your script line by line by line. Um, we're finishing up a fun mini-series today. We're talking about the Monkeybread plugin in SQL, which has been really interesting because I knew very little about SQL over this series, and I got like a cool little introduction to it. FileMaker has some limited SQL integration, but Monkeybread plugin vastly improves that for whatever you need it for, whatever you need that for. I'm going to hand this over to you now, Christian, because I'm very curious to see you wrap up the
Yeah,
series. So,
thank
what
you.
are we
So
doing?
let's continue to talk about SQL. You know, we have this little advent calendar thing where Stephanie writes 24 articles every year to, well,
Mm-hmm.
make a funny series with a little monkey for Christmas. And so we have this example here with 24 SQL articles. We also have the older ones here where Stephanie explains all the features in the plugin. You find it on the blog where you can read everything about the MBS plugin, like a new beta version, which gives you the improved search inside a custom function. So I showed that yesterday, so please try it. Today we are starting with comparing tables. So sometimes we have two databases with maybe different, different level. So you may have the database from an hour ago, and you may have the current database, and you may want to know what are the new records, what are the changes. So you can use our plugin to, well, check what's the difference between two tables. This could be in the same file or in two different files. Like I said, it could be the backup from yesterday and the file from today, and you can see what records are new.
Oh,
It can
that's
also
cool.
help you when you have a crash, and then you take an older file, and then you need to know what changed. So you open both files and you copy over the modified records. But if you want to know which records changed and you don't have an audit log, comparing the tables may be useful.
This is really cool.
So this function has a couple of parameters, like it needs to know what's the file name for the first table, the name of the first table. You need to provide some kind of ID field so we can know if, if yeah, well, we need to identify the record somehow. So file name 2, and then a few options to decide how precise to be in the result. So here's the example call, like one database, two database, same table, same primary key. Oh, it's in German. Okay. Oh, the examples in German. Okay. But it doesn't matter what the names of the fields are, but
Mm-hmm.
it will tell you some log messages, then tells you which tables it compared, which file names. It tells you if a field is missing in the other
Oh,
table. So there's a field list, and the field list then tells you, because there's a difference in the old and new field list, you get the removed fields and the added fields. Then there are a list of IDs of records which are no longer there, or new records. So you get in the JSON a list of the records. we can list you the IDs of all the records, and then we have changed records, and there you see this record with this primary key has a field with a serial number changed from this one to this, and of course the timestamp field also changed. So this is just the example in our documentation. Oh yeah, and here we have a example with a progress bar, because this function may take a bit longer. So it can give you a progress bar and keep the progress bar updated.
This is really
So,
cool. I assume that it only returns the changed information. What do you get if there's no changes? It just say that there's been no changes.
then you would get a JSON like this, and it would
Mhm.
say here, edit field is empty, removed field is empty, and change records is also empty. So
Got it. Okay.
all the entries would be empty. So it can be very useful to compare.
Yes.
Here's a JSON. No. And yeah, you can play with that, and a lot of changes. Like, let's see, this is day 17. Yeah. So here we have, we compare the door 7 with a copy of the file. So let's make a copy of the file. Where is the file? On the desktop. So it's a good idea to close a file before copying it, because we don't want FileMaker to complain that it's broken. So now I need to make a change here. Like, I invent a new movie, and then I delete a record, and maybe make a new record. And now let's go and find the script here and run it. File is missing. Oh, wait. Base copy. Yeah, here we go. So this dialog is not good for this. Let's put it in a global variable. Run it. Go to the data viewer. Open this, and you see the plugin formats it. And now we can scroll the results. So we see all the record IDs, and we see the edit IDs, and we see the changed records. And it just gives you the ID of the changed records, because there was a flag to give you the details. Let's go back with Safari, with the documentation. So the options is here a 1 for the details. So let's put in a 1 here. Oh yeah, if I leave away the 2, I don't get all the record IDs, which is not as useful, I think, because it would be just all the records. So now I have the change record where you see the modification time changed, and here I put in a 2. Yeah, and we have 1 deleted and 1 added. Okay.
This is really, I love this, honestly. I can think of so many cases where this would be super useful. Well, because I mean,
Yeah.
you have logs, but sometimes sifting through logs is a really hard way to determine exactly how much information has been added and what has been added. And this is just like one bulk delivery of all these fields have been changed.
By the way, this function can handle millions of rows. It will take time, and it reads the rows in blocks of 100.
Oh,
So if you have a lot of records, it may take a while, because it's looping over the records, and it keeps 100 records at a time in memory. Yeah, just to
well,
make sure that we don't, load a gigabyte or 10 gigabytes of data into memory and crash your machine.
well, if you're doing that kind of thing, you should expect it to take a while anyway. I can't think of any process that would do that
Yep.
quickly.
Yeah. So, okay. No questions, and let's go and continue to the next page. Sometimes people like to update something. We have an FM update record function where you pass in the file name or empty quotes, for the current current context, then the name of the table, and then field names and values. As I said yesterday, you can use get field name function to get the field names. You need to make sure that the data type here matches the field type. Also, I think I updated the plugin to convert it if needed to avoid this nasty error messages. So you can have update record, which updates one record. And there's also update records with an S, which updates several records, which basically does an, search and replace, find all the records where the director is named Chris Columbus and change the genre to Christmas comedy. So this is basically, search and replace. While this one here would complain if you have more than one record matching whatever you put here as a filter. So it will look for the primary key, get only one record, and then make the changes to these three fields. Because people love to have several primary keys or several fields to identify a record, you may also use a function like I added later, update record 3, where you have 3 ID fields. So you can say it must match maybe the name, the birthday, and the sex or whatever. So to find a person. But usually primary key is better. So under the hood, we built you a SQL statement like this, where we update the table and set the fields to the values based on the condition. And depending on which update function you call, the first 1 to 5 field and value pairs are the identifying condition to find the records, and the others are the values to use. You can, of course, do this manually if you like, but I think the plugin function is more convenient for most people because they need to write the sequence themselves.
This is interesting. Because this is a fun follow-up to the last one in particular. If you have like a ton of records that you just want to update, post the difference distinction.
Yeah, so we have update record. Let's see. It's looking for this record. I don't know if this record still exists, but let's just run this and see. Oh, it gives okay. So let's see. My field from 1994. Where's my table? I would find it myself. Okay. No record. Oh, wait. This table, huh? Wait, did I just change it? So, oh no, the director is left. Okay. And then 463. Oh, this one here. Oh, there's the name. Okay. So let's just change this. Go to the script again. Change the text. Oh, makes it smaller. We want to see in the background where FileMaker should update the screen. So let's say 2. Run this, you see. It's live. As soon as a record changes, FileMaker reloads the table and shows you the new data. Okay, so you can update the record with a statement without, changing the layout, without making a new card window to make a new context. You can just tell the plugin, make a change.
That's nice. I assume that also takes a chunk of time if you're doing like a ton of records. Like say you had like, a couple thousand fixes depending on what happened with the crash.
Yes. If you compare a crashed file to the new file, you can But you can use our JSON update function, which can take the JSON with the changes, and use it directly.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so let's see. So we have the updating, and let's go to the next one, and let's see. Oh, we have another thing about CSV and TSV. So you have comma separated values and tab separated values, which technically is almost the same, except that, the separating character is different. And the character to use to separate is a parameter, so you can specify whatever you like for the row and the column. And you can pick the starting row, the last row, or the first column, last column. So you can have a big stored SQL result and then take individual parts as CSV. So if you have specific needs. So let's see here, if you just call CSV, you get semicolons as a separator, but you can also ask for commas or tabs or whatever you like. And then we have a function to insert records using CSV. So if you got an export from another database, a CSV file, if someone emails you a monthly report with CSV, you can just read the content of the text file and use our plugin to insert that into your database. You would have to tell the plugin, of course, the file name, or again, empty quotes for a current one, the name of the table, the name of the fields, and the values with the separation using semicolons and returns. And you tell the plugin, of course, what's the separator. So it doesn't need to be semicolon. It can also be a comma or a tab. And then I think you can have additional fields, like you can say, I import this, but I also override the field given here and put in a certain value. And I think you can have several fields there. Yeah. Which can be funny because you can have an import and you specify the fields names. And you can technically specify a field name several times to just ignore a field and override it with the other table, other column. And the field names don't need to match what you have in CSV because you can just remove the first row with any field names there. So.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. That's it. Well, it allows you to match up very nice names to very not nice names in the database.
Yes, exactly. So let's see, is here a sample script? No, not much. Just some calls. Oh yeah, the CSV allows you to have some escaping, like you can have values in quotes. You can have here \R for a return character or \N for a new line character, which I think should both work. Yeah. So usually you would use it. Oh, you also have entered TSV. Yeah, TSV does the same, but expects a tab character. So yeah.
Okay, so wait, so is TSV the same as CSV, but it wants tabs? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is with tab return separated text.
Oh, okay.
I think we had this function first. Or let's see, 5.3, and this one is 7.4. Yeah. So I first had the one with tab return because I needed that for, copy paste from Excel. So if you have a spreadsheet open and you copy some cells over to FileMaker, you want to paste them into a text field, and then you have maybe a button to put it in records. And this CSV function takes a delimiter so you can choose it, and you can even pass an empty, and then we detect it by simply counting, do you have commas, do you have semicolons, do you have tabs? So the plugin can figure it out.
That's really nice, actually.
Yeah.
Keeps things simple.
So let's see. Do we have here a sample script? Where's 19? Yeah, here's a little example. So in the TSV, okay, we have the field names. Like if you have wrong field names, this will of course fail. Yeah. So it's again making SQL statements under the hood, and I can run it, and I get here the number 4 back because I have 4 new records. Okay. Useful things. People use it. And if you have no questions, we can
I assume
try
people
the
are
next
following
one.
along.
So now we have here insert record query.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, a function I made before I had stored results and matrix because those can do the same.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically, we run a query to find some records somewhere, and then
Mm-hmm.
we push them as new records to somewhere else.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can send your data to a file name or, empty to a table. So you can copy from a table to the same table or to another table or to another file with a table. So whatever. It's just copy records. And you specify the field names for the destination. So the field names don't need to match. And you have the source file name, and you have a SQL statement and parameters, which allows you to write a SQL statement where you can also pick which fields you want to have. You can put in, fixed values here, like numbers or quote to text with a single quote. You can pick a different table in a different file. You can have conditions to only pick some data. You can use the cast function here to convert data types, like cast it to varchar for getting text or cast to a decimal for getting a number. So you can convert data types. Yeah, and then copy data.
This
So
is
you can,
cool.
yeah,
Sorry.
technically you can also do the same with pure SQL. Where you use the insert command to tell FileMaker to insert data into a table by and filling the records instead of values. You don't specify values directly. You say make a select statement from a movie and get the same data. So it's similar, but I think this would do it all inside the SQL engine, and this does the plugin loops over the data and makes insert statements for you. So we can do a little bit more magic behind the scenes.
So, what magic behind the scenes would be enabled if you did that version?
Yeah, let's see. It does a couple of more things, I think. Yeah, you can specify fields and tables with IDs. So instead of putting in the name, you can put in the field ID or table ID. So the plugin would look up the thing. You can also use, again, get field name to get the field names, and we automatically take the field name. Yeah, I would have to check what it else does. Yeah, but we made it as a quick
Mm-hmm.
copy function.
No, that makes sense.
So maybe useful.
I mean, this is a cool thing to do.
So you can write your SQL yourself, or you can let the plugin do it.
Which is very nice. That gives you a lot of
Let's
flexibility.
see, 20. So we have, here's an example. So it copies from 2.20 and it gets it from the movie table. So let's see, there is a .20 table, which is full. Okay, let's make it empty. And now Let's just go here and run this, and you see, oh, we got a lot of data. So, I can, let's delete it again, and I can make these modifications like, let's say, delete all records first, truncate. So I could have modifications in the SQL, like name. Let's say we put the name and the director together in the first field, and then we put hello in the second field. And I don't know, just run it. And you see we have hello there because that's a fixed value here in the SQL. And I just concatenated the name and the director together without a space. So you can do modifications in the SQL to change the data on the fly. Yeah.
That's okay. That's cool, actually. There's a lot you could do with it
By the
if you wanted
evening.
to.
Okay, let's see, what's the next one? XML, yeah. Sometimes you may need to get an XML with some records, like you would have to make a report to someone. Your database needs to produce a certain XML, maybe every month, to send to some other department. So you may find it useful to have the plugin make you the XML. You run the FMSQL execute function and put in your select statement to get some data. Again, you can put in a condition. You can pick the fields you want. You can put in fixed values. You can do casts to change data types. You can do some SQL functions like concatenating or substring or whatever. Then you call our XML records function, or record for just one. And you put in the name of the root element. So this is the thing on top of the XML tree. No, the root, the bottom of the XML tree. Okay. And then the name of the entries for the records in the XML, like here, record. And then you can specify field names, name and launch here. These don't need to match, so you can rename the columns again. And then the plugin just outputs an XML, yeah, with the records. If you need, you can, of course, then apply another maybe XML function to modify it, or maybe an XLST to make a transformation of the XML. But if you need a quick XML output, I think this is fine.
Okay, this is
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, you can also ask for one record. And we have options. You have flags. The flags. Oh, JSON. Oh,
Oh wait, so can you
no.
convert the XML to JSON, or oh, is it just
No,
a?
no. The thing is, I probably wrote the XML records and the JSON records function at the same time.
Oh, yep.
And I copied over documentation things because I have the same options. I copied the same text, but didn't notice that there's JSON. So, but this function makes XML. So pass one to get all values as text, which means we do get as text first, and then you get text. Well, you get text always, but I'll have to check what it does. And the same as here, dates, times, and timestamps. We can format them for you in SQL format. Like this year minus month minus day. So they appear correct in the ordering when you sort them. Or we can just ask FileMaker for the text of the date, which may apply, localized formatting. So, and you can pick a range if you like, and then you get data. Yeah, we have samples here, sample scripts. And I can see if I try it. let's see, we have so it gives me one record here, Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's just modify it to get all the records. Then we need a root. That's here, or let's say export. And oh, 2 columns, but 1 file. Let's see the parameters again. So we have name and launch, we have the SQL result, we have the root name, we have the record name, we have the flags. No, the field names go first. Oh. One again, and there it is. So for quick export to XML. And you can do this in a calculation, like you could have a calculation in a field, which then gets data from another table and puts it in your field. Whatever you like, you can combine all the 7,000 functions like you need. Yeah, XML.
This is, yeah, okay.
Another thing. And then another thing. People ask, how big is my table? You know, it took FileMaker, what, 40 years until they added a little switch to their, what was it, data migration tool?
Yes.
You output the sizes of the tables, you know. I try to help in between with the plugin. The plugin will inspect all your records in a table and file name table, and it will tell you how many records it saw, the minimum row ID, maximum row ID, how many columns you have, and then it looks in the contents of each field and tells you how many text fields do we have, how many empty fields, how many number fields, date fields, timestamps, container fields, how many external containers have you seen, and for the containers you have, what is the byte size of all the containers. Then we have the sum of all the texts. No, that's the length of the texts. And then all fields as text, which gives you an estimate of the size of the database. And so we have then an estimate of the total size with the metadata, you know, and the space. So, well, back up. If you have a record in FileMaker and all fields are empty, the record still has a size.
Oh.
Because there's some, you know, structure for the
Yes.
record, like a few bytes, 2-3 bytes for each field, and then the 2-3 bytes for the ID of the record, you know, and some flags. So there is a size per record, and we estimate here the size of your whole table.
This is really cool, actually.
Yeah.
This is very. If you're trying to figure out what's the heavy,
I'm trying to click this button.
No,
No,
it's getting late.
What do I take? Let's just test this. I pick an example file. Let's say I pick the drag and drop example file. Where is it? Here's the window. Then I take a folder with pictures. Over here, my test pictures there. So drop errors there. Okay. Drop. So we have pictures. And now we want to use this function. So let's just copy this. Go to the data viewer and say this table is drag test. Evaluate. And so this table has now 11 records. And you see it inspects the containers and it finds we have 11 containers. The containers have a total byte size here. This is 71 megabytes. There's also a container size. Oh, there's a duplicate field. Okay, then there's a total size, and then it looks what's inside the containers. So we have 11 pictures, so we have 11 times the information about the resolution of the pictures, the file names, the size information. We also got some ROT8 entry, okay. Then we have PNGs. We have one PNG. Where's ours? Where are the others? Wait, where's the others? One PNG, two main items. Where are my JPEGs? Have you found a bug? I don't see JPEG here. That's strange. There is one PNG listed. I may have to check this. Is this table is special? That's strange. It sees all the containers. They have sizes. Okay.
Is it just combining the size of all the PNGs and JPEGs together?
No, it just reports one. It doesn't report the JPEG here.
Mm.
That's a strange thing because these pictures are all JPEGs actually. At least I think they are. That's strange. Yeah, this is a JPEG. Let's see what's in the container field. MBS container get types. And this is yeah, that's a JPEG.
Okay, so there's no PNGs at all. Huh. Okay.
No. Yeah, here this drop icon, that's a PNG. So I may have just noticed that my statistics function has a bug that it doesn't report the JPEGs here. I will have to check. Maybe it's something in this database file.
Could be a weird interaction.
Bug. You know, could always be that the programmer sitting on this share made a mistake. Okay, statistics can be useful. So let's see, next thing. We have dictionary. A dictionary is a data structure with a key and a value. And you can have a lot of things in a dictionary. And the lookup is very fast because there's an index. And a dictionary can be filled with a SQL statement. So you can create a dictionary and you can fill it from your table by running a SQL query. Here. So we can pick here something like name, director, launch for movie to get some data. Then we can check. Oh, this is just adding one SQL record. And we have to provide the field names and the field values. So we could get the dictionary field like this. But that's not very useful. More useful is the other way, where we usually just select a key and a value so we can fill the lookup table. What is Stephanie doing here? Let's go and do that. 23. So we have dictionary. Let's say we look up the name and the director from the movies. Dictionary. No, I want something else. Add SQL. This one. So yeah, we want to select the things to fill the dictionary. So I think this is a better function for filling a dictionary. So we need to pass in the dictionary, we need to pass in the SQL statement, and optionally a file name, yeah, and parameters. We are not using any parameters. So, okay, yeah. Let's just show it with here to JSON. So you see we have the dictionary filled with the name of the movies and the directors as values. And then anytime you need to do a lookup, you could do that. Usually you would do this at start of your solution. You would make a dictionary, you would fill it, and then at runtime, you would query it. So like this, we have it now in memory here, staying in memory. And I can use MBS dictionary value for key, $dict. Oh no, I need to know the name of one of these directors. Do I remember anyone? No, certainly not. Sure. Okay, let's try again. Yes, there's always elf. Yeah, so I can now look up the value in the dictionary at any time, anywhere in my solution, and get the other value back that I have in the dictionary. This could be useful, for example, for loading a list of zip codes and city names into memory, and then you can look up the city name for a zip code anywhere in your solution without access to the database.
There's a quick question. So,
Yeah.
dictionary is stored in memory? Question mark.
Yeah. Yes, always in memory.
Uh, and
Can
someone
be
was it.
big, can be small.
So it's like a variable? Question mark.
Yeah, but a variable where you store things with a key and a value. And we preserve the data type. So you can here use set value for key to put something into the dictionary, and later you can get it back.
Oh, okay. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's some people also use it for passing parameters, between functions. Like they may just pass the ID of the dictionary, and then the called function can pick all the values from the dictionary and put the results in and return to the other script, which can then pick the result from the dictionary, And because this preserves the data type, we don't need to do any conversions. And also there are no conversions happening, which can cause trouble, when a date is converted to text and then later you try to do something on the date, you may get into trouble. Okay. And what's the last one here?
The final door.
Insert or update.
Ooh.
If you have to make changes to a database and you don't know if the record exists yet or not, you can just call the plugin and tell it to insert or update the record. So there are basically three cases. The record isn't there. Then we do an insert statement and you get a new record. The second thing is the record may already be there and we update it. So we find it by its primary key. You have here ID field and ID value. So you should pass in some kind of primary identifier as the first one. And in our case, it's the name here of the movie. And then we set the fields we want to set, which I think you don't need to pass it twice here. Okay, and then the director and the launch. So we pass in the values to add to the record. If the record exists and you have several matches for the ID field, we would return error because, well, it's not unique. And there's also the possibility that the record exists already and has exactly these values. In this case, there would be no change.
This is really cool.
So let's see. Does this one exist already? This is 2023. So no, Snowbright doesn't exist. So let's just do this and run the statement. Okay. Oh, I have a search. I need to update my search. Huh? Yeah, now it exists. You see, it doesn't have a genre. So let's add a genre. Okay. Genre, testing, evaluate. And you see, we updated the record because it exists already. So, yeah.
This is this saves so much scripting effort.
Yeah, so under the hood, we check for duplicates. So if you have a primary key, it should be unique, like a new UID or so. And then the plugin can see if the record exists already. FileMaker can complain if someone else uses the same primary key. And then we would do an update, and this can be very useful. Again, I made this, and then I added here update record 2, 3, 4, 5, because people needed more than one field to identify the record. We also made the version with insert or update with a query. So you make a query in SQL to get data, and then we go over the result set and do the insert or update for every record you present, which is a great way to, sync tables, because you can say, I have a newer file, like a file with new orders, and then I have my existing orders file, and I want to transfer the new orders over to the other table. Yeah.
This trying to script this in FileMaker would take me
And now,
forever.
yeah, this insert or update with query, I think we have also the SQL version of that. Let's see. Where is my components? So we had this thing that you had, you made your query in a SQL database, like MySQL with a web shop. And then the insert or update is more interesting, I think, because you can move data from, you can move data from a MySQL database running your web shop to your local FileMaker database, and the plugin will automatically check if the records exist already and need an update. So like this could run every hour and maybe, make a select statement for give me all the orders from today. And if the order was already transferred, it doesn't matter. If the script didn't run an hour ago, we will still copy the records, It can be very useful.
That's that's fantastic.
So, and we had this insert functions. If you have JSON, please check out our JSON function for insert.
Mm-hmm.
Here, JSON insert record and update record, and where is it? Here, insert records. So you can have some JSON with the data for your record,
Mm-hmm.
and we can just insert it into your database. And also here we have the JSON insert or update. So if you have some JSON data, you can provide the plugin with the primary keys and the values. Like here we are building it with the JSON functions from FileMaker. So we use get field name. So you can just tell the plugin, here are my record IDs for identifying the records, and here are my values, and the plugin can then do the insert or update to figure out what to do and to put the data into your database. And the big benefit is such a call can replace a script with maybe 20 or 30 lines, because you would manually need to loop over the data, make a find for every record to see if it exists already, and then make updates in FileMaker, make layout changes. So
Yes, no, I was writing this script basically the other day, and it was a massive pain in the butt. Because you have to begin stacking if statements. Well, like, if this is the case, then you need to do this. But if this is not the case, and if you don't find the record, then you just go ahead and do, yeah. Making just an insert or update distinction is very nice. Someone is asking if you can do that with Python?
why would you want to do this with Python? I mean, we have Python functions, yeah. Yes, there's Python. So you can use a plugin to run Python code within FileMaker. Like you can evaluate an expression or you can run a script. And then the Python code can, of course, return a data as JSON, and you can do the JSON insert or whatever. Python could use ODBC to talk to FileMaker or the data API or whatever.
There you go. So you have the option.
So if you need to move data from a table to another table, from FileMaker to, SQL Server, MySQL, PostgreSQL, where's the list? Here. The list of supported databases. If you need to move anything from FileMaker to one of these, or in the other way, you can use our SQL function to do it on block, Instead of writing yourself a loop to go over the records, you can call a plugin function to do it for you. And also within FileMaker. And for the CS here, I think we are finished.
I think we are, but I've learned a lot. I now know a lot more about SQL that I did not previously. And there's some cool functions there that make, I don't know, what's the downside of choosing to do SQL over a FileMaker script? Is it take longer? Is it a little more uncontrolled?
It depends. Sometimes people like to implement both ways and then see which one is quicker. With SQL, we often have the problem that FileMaker runs the SQL engine locally.
Oh.
So it has to download all the data for this table. So the SQL engine can go through the records and apply whatever here condition you mean. No. The SQL engine needs to touch every record in this table, so it needs to be on your local machine. You can avoid this by running such a command in a server script. So the data doesn't need to be copied from one machine to the other over the network. Some things in FileMaker using relationships can be much faster than SQL. But other things in SQL are faster. It really depends on what you do.
That makes sense. So it gives you the option to try both ways, see what it can do. I assume if you did PSOS, that would fix the localization speed issues?
Yeah, if you do PSOS, you would run the thing on the server, so the data doesn't need to leave the machine. And you would do it in local memory on the server. Yeah. So if you do joins in SQL, in FileMaker, they can be very slow because the SQL engine has to go through both tables and then loop over all the records to find the matches. And if you have FileMaker with the FileMaker way with a relationship in the relationship graph, and FileMaker has indexes, FileMaker is much faster to find the matching records. So it really depends on what you do.
That makes sense. So, having the relationship in FileMaker for SQL join accelerates or is the same?
What?
Having the relationship in FileMaker for SQL join accelerates or is the same?
If you do the join in SQL, the SQL engine needs to load both tables and do loops over the data to figure out which values belong together. That's usually slower than using FileMaker relationships. Because FileMaker uses its index better to hop to the right record.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
You know, and in FileMaker, you don't need to actually specify the join directly. You just have a record, and then through 3 hops, you go to a different table, and you just access the other field, and FileMaker does its magic behind the scenes, you know? You don't notice it. Yeah, like if you have a table of a company and you have a person selected, and this person belongs to a company record, there's a relationship, and the company record has maybe a relationship to the table of the shareholders or what. Then you can directly access the list of the shareholders for the companies of the person you're looking at. So,
Okay.
and in FileMaker, you don't need to worry about this. You just loop over the records and you can access the data. And in SQL, you would have to write your join very carefully so you don't touch gigabytes of data and it takes forever.
Ah, there you go. I think that's a really good breakdown of like situations where you want to use one and not the other. So, gives you more options of how to deal with
For
big chunks
example,
of
if the
data.
plugin for our audit, we have to query the list of the fields in the schema and the list of the tables. If you have a big database on the server, let's say with 200 tables, I can get the list of tables in less than a second. I can also get the list of all the fields. Even if you have 20,000 fields, I can get this list out, again in a second or so. But if I tell FileMaker to find me the field names and the matching table IDs based on the table name to connect them, it takes forever. It can take several minutes to make this join. So I decided to query both lists and then do the join myself in the plugin.
That makes sense.
It's just yeah, but we'll see. I mean, you can do your tests. Claris recently updated the SQL engine, and I think 22 something. So some things may have got faster since the last time I tried. Yeah.
Yes. No, it'll be curious to see if they improve it anymore going forward. I mean, I'm sure they'll improve it in stages as they go forward, but still.
Yeah. And it's always a good idea to have maybe some switches in your script to say if the plugin is there and the plugin use is, allowed, then we can maybe use our insert or update function. And otherwise, you may also have a fallback implementation with FileMaker in case you have to run it on FileMaker Go, for example.
There we go. Cool. That makes perfect sense.
So
I think this has been a really good series, Christian. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, Stephanie, for writing.
yeah, I'm curious to see what she will come up. She has to start this just after summer holidays because
Oh,
it takes months to make example databases and example scripts and then write it all up. And
but it's a good little like mini course
Yeah.
through parts of the MBS plugin, especially since you have so much going on.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to wrap this up. Have a good one. I will see you tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. Wow. Okay. Monday. I will see you Monday. Bye.